I love that movie. Have you guys seen the Lego movie? Yeah, okay. Am I talking myself out here? Is there, I know this is. I'm a dad now, and so we watch little kid movies, and they're the greatest. I'm a huge fan. Well, hey everybody, welcome. Thanks for indulging my little obsession with seeing people come up with creative things. Well done to the boys here. We pulled that together in about 60 seconds, and you guys don't understand. There was a hissing goose that was trying to kill us. It's very intimidating. Anyway, hey, if this is your first time at Altitude, man, we're really glad you came. Hilarious night to show up. My name is Chris. If I haven't had a chance to say hi to you directly or meet you yet, I'm so glad you guys joined us. Here's what we want to do. If you are new, if you've never been here before, if you don't know what's going on, I'm going to be up here. I'm going to share some thoughts with you guys. I haven't got to be on the stage in forever. So I'm really excited to get to be up here. We're going to come back to this Lego movie clip in just a second. But here's what I want to do. I want to tell you guys what I want to talk about really quick so you know where I'm going with this. What I want to do is I want to talk about why is Easter such a big deal. If you were here last week, Wes came up here and we talked about what Easter is, why it matters. What I want to talk about is why does it affect our lives now? We make this huge celebration. Some of you guys came, some of us got to celebrate Easter on Sunday. What does it mean for our lives now? So in order to do that, what I want you to do, I want you to take a second here, and I want you to go back for a second. I want you to think about what you were doing exactly 1 year ago today. You think back to it, like, what were you doing 1 year ago today? What did your life look like 1 year ago today? Turn to your neighbor real quick. You can tell them real fast, what were you doing 1 year ago today? You don't know? That's what I thought. Nobody knows that fast. Maybe you've got an amazing memory. I don't remember what I had for breakfast this morning. So for me, I couldn't figure out what it was. So, and you guys do this later on if you have a phone or if you want to. I got on my phone and I got on my camera reel and I wheeled it back. I wheeled it back a year and I looked at what I did on, what is it today? April 7th, 2020. And I found this picture. I'm going to throw it on the screen. It didn't size right, so it's really big. But here's a really stupid picture of me on a Zoom call. Oh, ha. Look, I've got a suit on in the front half, and you probably can't tell from this picture, but I've got sweatpants on underneath. Because you remember how funny it was when we first started doing Zoom, and it's like, you can't see what's underneath my waist. Remember how fun Zoom was a long time ago? That's what it was. A year ago was back when we had just started going into lockdown. We were starting to get used to what it was to do things online, and it was so funny to see all these people like, oh, they're not even wearing pants, or whatever. That's what a year ago was. What was a year ago for you guys? If you think back of it, try to think. That was right when school probably was just starting to come back online. It's like, this is awesome. School's like 1 hour, and my teacher doesn't know what to do, and all my classes I'm getting A's in. Wasn't that fun? Okay, now I want you to take a second, if you can, and I want you to dial back 2 years ago. Last year, we were still in pandemic mode. 2 years ago, we didn't even know what pandemic meant. 2 years ago, coronavirus wasn't a thing. What were you doing 2 years ago? What did your life look like 2 years ago? I did the same thing. I looked at my camera reel, wheeled it back to April 7th, 2019. Here's another blown up picture here. Oh, there's me. It's me and my wife, Sarah, and we're on a vacation. We're in San Francisco. You can see a small Golden Gate Bridge behind us. And what I noticed, you can see in that big cheesy smile I have right there that, man, I was happy. I was in a really, really good mood. When I think back to being that guy, life was simpler then. I did not have the concerns that I have now. I don't have the anxieties that I had now. I was in a way, it was just easier then. I was having fun. I could see that on my face. What was it like for you guys? What were you guys like 2 years ago? Some of you guys, 8th graders, you'll be sitting there going 2 years ago, you were in 6th grade. Do you remember what you used to care about in 6th grade? Do you remember how you used to dress in 6th grade? And I'm not trying to knock being in 6th grade. It changes. It changes a ton. Some of you guys are going, 6th grade, please. 2 years ago, I was in 5th grade. You remember in 5th grade, it was so easy. You were kings and queens of the castle. You guys remember recess? I would kill people in Foursquare. 5th grade was the best. What was your life like 2 years ago? I bring this up. I'll ask you this question too. I bring this up because this video clip, when I was watching this Lego movie, it made me really start to think about, have we in our lives, and the way that this year has gone, the way this season has gone in our lives, have we somewhat become Rex, the character on that? If you haven't seen the movie, there's basically the main character is this Lego man named Emmett, and he's like this nice, happy, kind of goofy guy, but he's the hero of the story. And then something really bad happens to him. He gets thrown under the washer. He gets forgotten for a year. His life ends as the way he knew it. And because of that, he becomes a different person. A person fueled by anger, a person that's jaded, that's cynical, and that's Rex. And that's what you saw in that little video there. And my question is, are we somewhat like Rex? Has our lives come to Rex? If you could jump back in time and talk to yourself, I'm going to tell you right now, if I could jump back a year, I'd slap that guy in the face and be like, it's not funny. It's not funny. Zoom sucks. Stop thinking this is creative. And if I could jump back 2 years, honestly, this guy, I'd want to hang out there. I miss feeling like that. What did it look like for you 2 years ago? And are there parts of your life that you find yourself going, man, I really miss that? Did you have passions? Did you have interests? Did you used to laugh more? Was life easier? Maybe before coronavirus, or maybe just a season in your life that things have gone on that now you feel like, no, now I'm just not that person anymore. I don't think that way anymore. I don't laugh like that anymore. I don't care about those things anymore. I haven't done that in so long, I don't think I could ever pick that up again. Are there parts of our lives where we feel like we've laid down, that become dormant, that we feel like they're gone? Like Rex is not going to become Emmett again. That is too far gone. Are there aspects of your life that feel like they're dead and they're gone? And if you think back to that, maybe it's a year ago, maybe it's 2 years ago, maybe it's longer than that. When you think back to that version of yourself that feels like, man, that was a long time ago. Is there any part of you that wishes you could go back to being like that? Is there any part of you that hopes you could be like that again someday? If you have felt that, I'll tell you guys, I feel that. I don't know if you guys feel it, but I know I do. I know that the version of me now, I didn't think I would be this uptight. I didn't think I'd be this burned out. I didn't think I'd be this stressed out. I didn't think I'd be this just bored. And I miss a version of me that was different. And I hope that I can be that again. And if you have felt anything like that, you got to know that is why we celebrate Easter. That is what makes Easter matter so much. If you were here last week, Wes came up and he talked about that God loves us so much that he didn't want us to have to pay a debt that we couldn't pay. That he took a punishment that he didn't want us to have to experience. He saved us from something that was meant to be for us. He saved us from consequence. He saved us because of how much he loved us. And that is so powerful, and that is what happened at Easter. But that is not where the Easter story ends. The cross, Jesus dying on the cross, that is not where the Easter story ends. If your family goes to a church, or if you've heard the Easter story before, you may know that on Sunday of Easter, we celebrate that Jesus resurrected, that Jesus came back to life, that he came back from that. And for me, when I ask myself, so if I sit there going, what does it mean? Okay, cool, Jesus came back from the dead. I'm not dead, so what does that mean for me? What does that mean for you? None of you guys are dead. Maybe if you're dead, that's really good news because it means maybe you can come back too. But if you're not dead, what does it mean for you? What Easter means, what I want you guys to get as you think about how does this affect your lives now, is the areas of your life that feel like, I don't think I can be that person anymore. The areas of your life that have been so pushed aside that you've forgotten about, the areas of your life that you may be feeling, I don't think I can be that person anymore. That can be resurrected. When we see Jesus coming back from the dead, when we see Jesus bringing life into something that was dead, that is an invitation for the areas in our lives that we feel like are now gone, that are just too far gone, that those areas too can be resurrected. And I want to tell you, I'm going to tell you guys a real quick story, and then hang with me. Hold that thought for a second. I want to tell you a quick story about dandelions. If you don't know, first of all, dandelions suck. The dumbest flower I've ever seen. It's actually a weed. And if you haven't been around, if you don't know this, I grew up on a farm, and when you grow up on a farm, you're just a weird kid because you don't have anybody around you. It's a big farm, so you don't live by anybody. You don't get to hang out. I had older sisters that didn't want to hang out with me, so I spent a lot of time hanging out by myself. And one of the things that I hated is in some of our fields, we would have dandelions grow. It looked a little bit like this. Dandelions everywhere. And then, if that's not bad enough, after a few months, they turn into that, which is just, it looks like a I don't know, hairless baby doll with fuzz coming out. It's disgusting. So I'm not a fan at all. And so what I would do is bored, hanging out a lot by myself, I would take a stick and I would walk up and down the field, and I would just whack the tops off them, just trying to mow I'd just use a stick, and I would try to get every single one. I spent hours doing this, hours going up and down, up and down, up and down, killing all these dandelions. Now, if you know anything about plants, the stupid thing about doing that is all I was doing, every time I chop the head off one of those things, all I'm doing is helping to plant more and more of them. And so every year they'd come back to me more, and I'm like, what the heck is going on? And I've got this stupid war with dandelions when I was growing up. Why do I bring up dandelions? Why do I bring that up? One of the things that, when I hear resurrection, when I hear that word, I think of the words, the idea that comes to my mind right here, that Jesus resurrected, that sounds like some spell. Or that sounds like a zombie movie. It sounds like something to me, honestly, that's fake. It sounds like something to me that is unnatural, or at best is supernatural. But guys, as I started to lean into the Easter stories, as Easter came up, I wanted to read it. I wanted to read what happened again. So I was reading my Bible, and I want to show you guys one line that I came across. I was reading the Easter story, and this is actually right before Easter happens. Jesus is coming into Jerusalem, which is the city where it all happens, the city where the cross happens, the city where he raises from the dead. And as he's coming in, it says that people are shouting around him. They're saying, "Blessed is the King who comes in the name of the Lord." They're saying something that felt as unrealistic or as unnatural as resurrection. They're saying, this is a king. No, this guy was not crowned king. This is a king, and he comes from God. And so there are a bunch of people that maybe are like me, or maybe are like some of you guys who are going, that's not, what are you saying? That doesn't make sense. And so it says to them, some of them in the crowd said to Jesus, "Teacher, rebuke your disciples," saying, stop having these people say these things that are not true. And it has this line, this stuck out to me this year, like I've never looked at it before. And I want you guys to see this. He replies to them, he says this thing that doesn't make any sense. He says, "I tell you, if they keep quiet, the stones will cry out." It's like, what? What is that like? That doesn't seem like the line I was expecting. It's something about that drew me in. I couldn't get away from that line. The stones would cry out. And I realized what it's talking about is it is saying that nature itself reflects what Jesus has done. Nature itself reflects a resurrection. When you look at any plants, when I look at these dandelions that I'm chopping the heads off of, and every single time what I have killed is now coming back to life and in full force, nature is telling the story of Jesus' resurrection. And maybe this is why Easter's always around springtime. If you go outside and you look at the grass now, or you look at any of the trees that have buds on it, or the flowers that are coming up, we see that it's actually natural that which has been dead, or that which looks dead, is coming back to life. That is actually the way the world, Jesus said it so that is now how the world is supposed to work. And I hope when you hear that, guys, that gives you a ton of hope. That it's evidence, that it's natural evidence, that the versions of you that you feel like, I don't know how I lost that, or I don't know if I can ever go back to being this, or I don't know if I can ever be that person again. We can when we bring ourselves to Jesus. That the resurrection that he experienced when he came back from the dead means that the areas in our lives that have felt dead, and I bet if I asked every single one of you, you can name one area of your life that feels dead, that area can be resurrected. So that's my question for you guys, is what do you want in your life to come back to life? What do you want resurrected? And have you ever taken that to Jesus? Because the very important thing is you can hold all the seeds in the world in your hand, but unless they go into soil, they will not grow. And you can hold all these areas in your life that you wish could be different, that you wish could go back, that you wish could be better, but unless we take them to Jesus, they cannot come back. They cannot grow. So I got a couple questions for you guys. We're going to break into small groups now. Questions are this. I want to know, what about you has changed over this last year? So you think back to you a year ago, what has changed about you over this last year? Do you feel like you've become somewhat of a Rex from that movie, or do you still feel like you're like an Emmett? Do you feel like neither? What parts of your life have died? What parts do you want to resurrect? And have you ever talked to Jesus about what you want to resurrect? I'm going to pray for our time, then we're going to spend some time in small groups, and I hope you guys will join us next week here at Altitude. God, thank you so much that you are a God that brings life back into areas that we thought might be dead. That the story is not over, and that you are actually saying the best is yet to come. Help us to figure out what that looks like. Bless us in our small groups. Amen. All right, you guys head into small groups, and we'll see you next week.